What is going on, everyone?
Hi.
Welcome back to the W.A.D.E concept. We are here. It is the new year.
New year, new
I
me.
need a Coca-Cola.
Oh, I thought cane.
I was trying to rhyme.
No.
No. Anyway, we're back. Of course, I've brought
Yeah, we're good.
we're going on. I brought the clickbait, ratings pop,
Me.
advertiser-friendly cutie to the stream with us today. Josh, what's going on, man? Doing well. How you doing?
Hey.
It's good to see you. Good to see you. We're actually going to do something different today. So usually this is my MMA Weekly podcast, and it will be a little bit today. What we're going to do today, though, is we're going to talk some MMA for about 30 or so minutes. We're not very good with timelines and things like that, but we'll try our best to keep that, a little short. And then we're going to talk about a little bit about us and how we met and
how cute.
the cuteness that is my girlfriend.
All right, let's go.
All right, so just to start off, clickbait. Hey, see, you put her in the. That's what I'm saying, man. We bring revenue. We bring viewers in with the glasses and the headband. We won't show what's under the headband, but the headband and everything else about her. So I'm glad she's here. She's only here for a couple more days, so you guys show her some love in the chat. Let her know we're gonna miss her, and she'll be back on. Hopefully sooner than later, she'll be back on.
They're gonna miss me more than you.
They're not gonna. They're gonna miss you, and I'm gonna miss my channel because it's gonna go to crap as soon as you leave. But let's talk some UFC. What do you say?
Okay.
All right. So you be my handy dandy
Notebook
here.
All right.
So let's talk UFC 19. So if you guys didn't watch, UFC 219 was last Saturday, and we had so many things we learned about so many different divisions, right? Some people are calling this card a snooze fest. I personally don't think that this card was any type of a snooze fest. I mean, we had a fun time doing it.
I thought it was pretty fun. Yeah.
I think the chat made it a lot more fun for us.
Yeah,
Obviously,
for sure.
they were having a good time, and we were too. But just the fights themselves, there were so many things that it told us. First off, you saw Carlos Condit come back and not put in the greatest showing, and Neil Magny does what Neil Magny does. Everybody that's not in that top five, that's not a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu beast. He wrestles them to the ground, takedown after takedown after takedown, plays his reach, plays his height, and wins fights. It's not interesting as far as the flashy Michael Page knockouts go, but it's effective. He wins fights. Now we'll see where he goes. Can he get off that hump that he's on between the top 5 and the bottom 10? We'll see. But for now, it looks like Neil Magny's got him a nice win. And for God's sakes, Carlos Condit, retire. I'm gonna look straight in the camera. You're a legend. Tell him, Kellsie. He's a legend.
You're a legend, and you should really, really retire.
Why should he retire, though?
Well, you're supposed to tell me.
Oh, say you're a legend.
Oh.
Say it with passion, though. Like you really mean. Like you're talking to your son.
You're a legend. You should retire.
Tell him, Mama, come home to Mama. Tell him that.
I'm not saying that.
Okay,
That's
but
stupid.
Anyway, Carlos Condit should retire because he's done this. He has 41 fights. The guy's done everything you need to do other than win that title. In 170's Murderer's Row. He's not winning that title anytime soon. He's already been saying he's thinking about retirement. When you have one foot out like that against guys that are training and don't care about anything you're doing outside of that gym, they just want to rip your face off. It's probably time to go. So, good fight for Neil. Hopefully he can get in that top 3, top 4 range at some point. I really want to see him do well. He's almost damn near impossible to knock out, but who knows? At 170, it's a tough sled for anyone. And then we had what we thought about.
What?
In our recap, or excuse me, our predictions. We thought that Carla Esparza versus Cynthia Calvillo wasn't going to be as close as people thought. You actually picked, by proxy,
her, right?
You actually picked Carla. Yeah. And, I told people this on the predictions. I told you guys, how old is Condit? I think Carlos Condit's in his medium 30s. I want to think he's 35, maybe 35, 37. Josh, he's an old guy, man. And when I say old, I don't mean in terms of years. I just mean in terms of the tread he's gained from these MMA fights. UFC age and MMA age, he's probably in his late 50s because he has 40 fights. That's Robbie Lawler, BJ Penn range, and those guys are on the way out too. It's just youth has taken over in this sport, and you didn't know what kind of Carlos Condit we would see, and what we saw was a tentative, rusty, ring rust is a thing. Guy kind of afraid to pull the trigger and just couldn't get inside that reach, couldn't really do what he wanted as far as, his nickname's the natural born killer. He's going to come forward and land big shots. Even the leg kicks weren't there. So unfortunately, it looks like it's his time. But onto we need a sound effects button that we can that we can record your voice and use it as our sound effects button. So anytime when you're not here, I can just hit it and it'll have your voice.
No.
Just go wah, wah. That's also what we're gonna do with her. We're gonna have so much stuff to do with Kellsie because when she's not here,
it's gonna be my channel then.
We're just gonna have to add her, but it's still gonna say the W.A.D.E concept.
Let's say Kellsie concept.
No KO concept.
KO.
No.
Yeah.
No. But then we went on to the women's fight, and which you actually liked. I mean, and you liked both of them, but this one was what I was gonna say. Is a lot of people put a lot of stake in Cynthia Calvillo, and for good reason. She's a monster on the ground. She's a monster. She's got a lot of growing to do, especially as far as, that division goes. It's no longer an easy division where you can win 7 straight. You might win 5 or 6 straight against, and I don't want to say that she fought nobody, but it wasn't the Rose Namajunas. It wasn't even the Carla Esparzas. It wasn't the Joanna Jędrzejczyks. It wasn't those girls. And when you get into that top 3 or 4 range, you start to see that everyone's more well-rounded, and she needs to become more well-rounded. On the feet, she was getting tagged. She even got taken down more times by Carla Esparza. And people forget, Carla Esparza was the first strawweight champion.
Why you?
If you were going to fight, that would be your weight class.
Really?
Yeah.
What was that?
115.
Heck yeah.
Wow, we just outed your weight on YouTube.
I'm so fat. Oh my God.
We're gonna get her a trainer, guys.
That's so
we're gonna
rude.
get her in shape.
I'm fine.
No, what do you mean? I'm putting you into the division.
Yeah, right.
We're gonna teach her. She's your jiu-jitsu's all right. She's got a nice guard.
No.
Anyway,
it's so awkward.
We are gonna get you going, but no, we need to figure out where Cynthia Calvillo falls into place. She's already 30. I'm not saying by any means she's done, and the UFC is still gonna push her to the moon. But Carla Esparza, your first strawweight champ, beat Rose Namajunas. People forget about that as well. So she's still there, and that 115 division still has a lot of people that are vying for a shot. So we'll see what happens. But a lot of people slept on that fight, and it ended up biting them, especially me. I still thought Cynthia Calvillo would win just because she's such a monster on the ground, and usually when she gets hooks in like she did in the first round, it's over with. But Carla Esparza did well to defend, got up and took Calvillo down. So it was a good fight. Again,
I'm here, Kellsie.
This card, Bruce
is here.
The man is in the building. Joanna will be champion again. So funny enough, Josh, you mentioned that. I was going to talk about this later. I might not even have brought it up, but obviously she was on MMA Hour yesterday with Ariel Helwani. Rose Namajunas was. What's up, Bruce? And she was talking about it. She was saying who she wanted to give the next fight to, where she thought the division was going, and she talked about it. She said, I think Joanna being the champion she was for 9 years, having 9 years, Jesus Christ, 9 title defenses, she deserves, that rematch in her eyes, and in my eyes too.
Jeez.
Bruce.
What'd he say?
Josh giving the shout out. But she deserves that rematch, in my opinion, even though she did get, starched in that first round. When a champion holds that kind of lineage, and I thought that Conor should have gave Jose Aldo that same rematch. But when they hold that kind of lineage and they really defend that title for multiple fights, I think they deserve that rematch. And I think in the rematch, if it does happen, Josh, I think Joanna does have a way better shot now, knowing maybe she took Rose a little lightly, maybe the training camp wasn't as good as it should have been. Whatever it was, it's so hard to beat somebody twice, especially in mixed martial arts, when you got game tape on them now and you can see, okay, her striking's improved. Now we do this, this, and this. And Joanna being one of the best strikers in the women's division, bar none, bar any weight class, I think she has a good shot too. But speaking of the women's division in any weight class, let's just talk about the main event, and then we'll kind of work backwards from there, because the Hooker Kellsie fight was okay. It was a good fight. Hooker with I think it was the Anaconda choke for the win. I want to talk more about Khabib in a second, so we'll just go ahead and talk about the main event. What did you think about the main event?
It was good, but I really wanted my girl to win.
You really wanted Holly to win?
Yeah,
I thought Holly had a way better showing than a lot of people thought she would.
A showing?
Like how she did her showing.
I thought you were talking about her boob.
That showing too. Did you guys see that, by the way? Bruce, Josh, let me know if you guys saw that. During the telecast, Holly's boob came out. I don't want to get demonetized for putting that on my YouTube channel, but I don't know what happened with that. I mean, it happened. It almost happened twice.
I didn't see
Cyborg was doing a lot of, touching like this. A lot of fighters do with their jab, and she kept grabbing Reebok. We got to get some better equipment. All right,
funny.
We've been talking about this for years. I don't like you guys, but at least
I see
cover
that.
the fighters. That was so crazy, wasn't it? Unbelievable stuff,
I
man.
didn't see it at all.
I caught it as soon as it
You're
happened.
like, oh, look it. I'm like,
Couldn't
whoa,
believe
chill.
it. Couldn't believe that. It wasn't like I was looking for it. It just happened.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, I'm saying maybe. No. But what we saw in that fight was that Holly had a game plan to a point, and what surprised me was the clinches. You remember the clinch? She kept putting her up on the fence.
Yeah.
And really showed her strength. I don't think Holly realized that she would be as strong against Cyborg as she was.
I don't even think Cyborg thought that.
I don't think
she was
it is
getting
either.
super annoyed. Did you see that?
Well, what happened was Cyborg usually is the bigger fighter, can kind of throw people around, and Holly was putting her up against the fence. But the difference was Holly, when she got there, it didn't look like she knew what she wanted to do.
She wasn't doing anything.
Right. She didn't.
Just holding
I
her
think
there.
she was surprised that she got that easy of a clinch, and then as the fight went on, I think she started using that as a way to either calm Cyborg down and not let her take that, get that fury off that she likes to throw. And I think that Holly just had no real way to go from there, because you take Cyborg down, she's black belt off her back. I don't know what you really do with that. But what I did like from Holly, Josh loving him some Holly Holm. But what I did love from Holly.
You put a banana there.
Oh, Jesus. Is that what that is? Oh, my Lord. It's a PG channel, Josh. Come on, man.
I mean, it's just a banana.
Never mind. So what happened in this fight, you saw Holly was doing a really good job of landing her straight left hand. So Holly obviously fights southpaw and was catching Cyborg, but the difference was, no worries, Josh, I'm just playing with you, brother. The difference was when Cyborg hit her, obviously with the counter right, the power that Cyborg has in those hands. You saw it from the first exchange. Holly's eye swelled up like a baseball.
Yeah, that was okay.
And
You're
just
being a little dramatic.
Well, as the fight went on, that eye was closed.
Really?
She couldn't see out of that left eye. So as the fight goes on, and Cyborg, what we didn't know about Cyborg was can she keep the pace for 5 rounds against a girl who in Holly will keep the pace, and she did, and she fought valiantly. To be honest, the rounds that Cyborg won, I thought she clearly won, but in one of the judges' scorecards, there was a 48-47. We were close to, if Holly would have won that 5th round, having a possible split decision win for Holly. So the fight was not as far off as people were thinking. The fight's over, Kellsie. We can't go back. It's unfortunate. But that fight was a lot closer than people thought it would be. And again, Holly did what she wanted to do. There's no setup with the jab. She just threw the straight right. And again, this is the Conor counter number 2, and we're going to talk more about him. But it was a lot like Conor's straight left hand. He doesn't really set it up with the jab, as far as he'll throw the hand out there and really gauge distance, but he doesn't really snap off jabs as much as he wants to step back and throw the right hand, his power left hand. And Holly looked to do the same thing. It was landing, but the power that she possessed versus the power that Cyborg possessed coming forward was just
not there.
It was night and day. But more credit to Holly. I can't stand that, if someone loses a title fight, they're all of a sudden trash in people's minds or bottom of the list. Well, there's no list at 145. Holly could be the number 1 contender for the next 3 or 4 fights until Megan Anderson, who I forgot her name on the freaking live stream, but she's the 145er in Invicta that was supposed to fight Cyborg when Tanya Evinger did. She's out there, but I don't know who else is really there at 145. They talked about Amanda Nunes maybe coming up and challenging, but who knows? True. Josh, I'm with you, man. Holly, she'll never have that Cyborg mentality to come, full force and really, and really snap that hand off. And I don't know if it's because of the way she fights. She's very, very much a counter puncher. She was coming forward in this fight, and she was, throwing the Holly combos, the 1-2 and the head kick or the body kick after. She was initiating contact, and you actually saw Cyborg countering, but it wasn't the power that Cyborg would throw. Even sometimes going backward was just so different. And it's unfortunate for Holly, because 1 or 2 more exchanges there in the 2nd and the 5th round, and she might be your 145 champ. But props to Cyborg, and hopefully they can find something for her, because that girl, if she can keep racking up wins, that's the best women's fighter to ever live. What do you think? Yeah?
Yeah.
Until you start at 115?
Yeah, when I start, then nobody's going to win.
What would be your one way you would like to end the fight? Would it be a knockout? Would it be a submission?
A knockout for sure. Come on.
Yeah? Left hand, right hand. Kick. Which one are you thinking? Show someone your right hand right now.
I'm not very flexible, so probably. You're being.
But are you though?
Dirty.
Sorry.
I don't
Josh,
know.
yeah, you're right, man. Holly has some of the best footwork, But you're right. At that whole fight, all she was throwing was the not even throwing the jab out there, but throwing just the 1-2 and then maybe a body kick here and there. She didn't want to get too kick heavy with Cyborg being able to catch and possibly take that fight to the ground, even though I don't think Cyborg wanted any part.
What's Cypark?
It's a side park of...
Oh, okay. I just didn't know. There's a Cyborg fighting, but not Cypark, so I don't know who that is.
A Cyborg didn't really show if she wanted to take that fight to the ground at all. I think she wanted to stand and prove that she wasn't some crazy berserker that could fight with pace and that could fight with control, and over 5 rounds, showed us they could do that. So props to Cyborg. We'll see what happens in that division. It's very interesting. The UFC hasn't really signed any new athletes. They haven't found a way to get more 145ers, and they haven't really showed the attention to the division at all. So I'm not sure where it goes because Cyborg's kind of sitting there as a lone duck right now. But then, now this is something I wanted to backtrack and talk about because we're going to kind of lead into something else, and I'll do it very quickly because I know we got to talk about us.
Oh, we got to talk about us.
But let's talk about Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Bear wrestler.
She watched the video finally.
Yeah, and he's not even wrestling a bear. He's
so
literally
this is the thing.
Playing with a bear.
Would you let your child play with a bear?
No.
Would you let your child get gnawed at and bit at by a bear?
Is he
regardless,
good? Is he a good kid?
We're not condoning feeding anyone's kids to bears. Jesus Christ, YouTube, we're sorry. But that video is out there, and regardless if the bear's playing and he's playing, that's still a bear with a child.
I guess.
And the child shows no fear of the bear. I don't know if that's some Mowgli Jungle Book stuff, but it was just, I don't know. It was crazy to see that. But it shows you obviously that the Russian mentality of just, that fighter spirit they have. I mean, they're like we talked about, their national sport is Sambo wrestling, and you saw a lot of that in the fight. You saw a lot of Edson Barboza getting frustrated and mentally breaking. Like you saw the look on his face when
he was like done.
Middle of round 2, maybe even the end of round 1, when Khabib literally at 3 minutes left in the first grabbed onto him, ragdolled him to the ground, and sat on him, pinched his legs together, and continued to hit him with the left hand over and over.
He was done.
Wrestling is always better. I think wrestling is a great base for martial arts. I think wrestlers have an advantage coming forward. Perfect example. Granted, Yair Rodriguez is very young. Frankie Edgar's been doing it for forever. But I think that's a great example because wrestling as a foundation for mixed martial arts is so much more universal to each fighter. If you're a great striker but you can't defend yourself on the ground, forget about fighting mixed martial arts. It just is not going to happen because go fight kickboxing, go fight at Glory, go fight, some kind of K1 something, because MMA is not going to be for you. If you can't defend yourself from a wrestler and, take down defense, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, whatever it is that you've learned that's better to help you, but a pure striker, unless he's good off his back foot like Conor McGregor.
What was this?
It's the 3rd time I mentioned his name. I'm just keeping my own count.
Oh, okay.
Like Conor McGregor, who we're about to talk about with Khabib, but unless you can fight going backwards and throw leg kicks, which we saw Edson Barboza try to do, that's the only real way you can tire out a wrestler coming forward at you. Because, good God, Khabib's pace never stops. I mean, he might get a little sloppy with his striking, but his pace never stops. He doesn't give you room. Do you think a submission artist is a good matchup for a wrestler, for example? That matchup. Khabib versus Ferguson is going to be a matchup for the ages at 155 because I think the only person that's going to be able to stay with that pace, because I don't see Conor staying with that pace versus Khabib. I think you have to, and it's the same kind of thing we always talk about with Conor, that dead period in his fights, rounds 3 and 4 where he can't seem to get anything going.
He's tired.
Super tired, and that, I guess, exhaustion from just being so, explosive and fast, and he can't catch that second win. Khabib and Tony don't need a second win. They're there, and Tony off of his back is nasty. Granted, Khabib is so much stronger than everyone else in the 155 division. Daniel Cormier's talked about them grappling and Khabib getting the better of him. Absolutely. Good footwork fighting backwards and combinations can beat a wrestler, but it's tough, man, because you're holding out hope that backward striking is going to land on the chin and he doesn't grab a hold of you before that happens. So the possibilities are endless for this fights because you have this triangle, and we'll just talk about it because there really isn't much to talk about with the Khabib Edson Barboza fight. Edson tried his best with the leg kicks.
He's got a good point though about Conor not coming back.
Yeah, right? We'll talk about it in a second because there's so many things Conor can do, but Edson Barboza tried with the leg kicks early in the first round. Khabib ate him and kept moving forward. And Edson's got some of the hardest leg kicks for a wrestler to take their base out, especially when they're moving forward. And the constant pressure that Khabib has is essential. You have to be able to take the legs, because without that, they're going to shoot that power. Like, Khabib doesn't really shoot a power double. He just kind of grabs onto you and ragdolls you around. But a wrestler like a Frankie Edgar or a Chad Mendes will shoot that power double. And without the power in their legs to do so, kind of eliminates them, especially the weight on the front foot that they need to shoot for that. But Edson, fell prey to what everybody falls prey to with Khabib, and that's you get ragdolled and you can't get up. You have to be able to cage walk. You have to be able to kick your hips and get him off of you in some way, and no one showed a way to yet. So Khabib dominated, utter domination. After the fight, gets in the press conference, talks that he could fight Tony and Conor in the same night, and he's not joking. And I don't believe he's joking when he talks like that.
Khabib said that?
Khabib said that in the post-fight press conference. And then he says, yeah, Conor's a good boxer, but what happens when I fight him Cain Velasquez style? And it was interesting that he used Cain Velasquez, because what he's doing is comparing his striking and his wrestling and that pace to a Cain Velasquez. And when you think about it, they're not that much different. Cain's always had great pace. I think he has a little bit better striking as of right now than Khabib does, but a great wrestler as well. But what he does is he starts with boxing, and then he'll fake boxing, come wrestling, level change on you, shoot for a takedown, pop up and hit you with the left hook. Cain does a lot of that very well, and his pace never stops. He never lets you get space between him, and Khabib does the same thing. So I think that's an interesting comparison, and I think he was right in it. He says good footwork, fighting backwards. Absolutely. Conor won't come back because he's worth millions. I'm with you. Conor doesn't have to do anything. Now, granted, Conor spends that money. He doesn't just save that money, sit on it conservatively. I think he's banking a little bit on this whiskey brand to do really well for him. And I don't really know how it's going to do. And I can think it's a determinant on what he's going to be able to do, because he might be set for now. But the way he spends his money, or at least the way it looks like he spends his money on Instagram and all those other things, 20 years he could be out of money. And that's really relatively in his life a short time period. So it looks like he wants to fight again, but there are definite concerns, and no one can tell me he didn't watch the fight, because on Twitter we saw after Conor
he was making
starts
fun.
to jaw back at Khabib back and forth. This is my thing. I read I read all the stuff that they said back and forth. I don't really know how much they Conor's team really wants that fight. But let's say they do. Let's say they want Khabib, and let's say they want him in Russia like Dana proclaims that is happening. If that's the case, the keys to victory are very simple for both fighters. You got for Conor, you're going to have to knock him out on the feet. If Khabib thinks that his boxing is good enough to stand with Conor for any period of a minute or 2 minutes on, it could be a good night for Khabib. And I don't say that to be like, well, Conor's striking is just far and away better than Khabib's wrestling. It's not what it is. But Conor's so quick, and he catches guys coming in. We saw it with Jose Aldo. We see it when Chad Mendes tried to take him down in that second round of their fight. Granted, Chad got him down a couple of times. But when Conor was able to get back up, and Chad would try again and come in close to try to mitigate that range, Conor would tag him. And so there's a definite possibility if Khabib even tries to stand with Conor and throw that sloppy kind of running at you boxing. Now, the difference is with Khabib and other guys that hit pressure and pressure and pressure and pressure, Khabib doesn't stop. Khabib's conditioning, at least for that 3-round fight, was phenomenal, and he doesn't give you space. Like a lot of guys, when they shoot for a takedown and miss, they'll back up, reset, and give you space. When Khabib is running at you, even if he doesn't complete that first takedown, he's right on your back. You saw it with Edson. Edson got out of an ankle pick he tried to get him with, and as soon as Edson turned around, Edson Barboza, Khabib was right on him again.
Yeah.
The guy doesn't stop with his pace. And so it's very tough. If that fight goes to the ground, Conor's not getting off his back unless he finds someone to work with for a 8-week to 10-week camp that just straight up get up and cage walk Michael Bisping style. I don't see it happening. That fight, in Russia would make huge money for the UFC, the way Khabib is a superstar over there. But we'll see.
Has Khabib been in a 5-round match before?
Khabib has been in a 5-rounder, I'm pretty sure, outside of the UFC. I don't think he's had a title shot yet, but he's fought 24 times. I want to say I'm sure he's been in a 5-rounder. Not in the UFC, though. Conor can be a promotion company, or he can make clothing. Conor has his own promotion company right now, that McGregor Promotions, that he's trying to partner with the UFC. I doubt that happens. I think the Mayweather fight will improve Conor. I think Conor took a lot from that. Now, granted, it's only going to improve one aspect of his fighting, but it's the aspect that he relies on a lot in this boxing, right? I think he's going to, not only just fighting a guy that's the GOAT in all aspects of boxing, but I think that he really realizes now, okay, I do have he even said it after the Mayweather press conference, I do have a problem with my cardio. I need to solve it, right? And I think I've talked about this. It's not, and the only thing Conor really needs to do is start running. The guy doesn't run.
Oh, yeah, you told
he doesn't
me that,
run
yeah.
on pavement. He bikes a lot. And I don't care if it's in Vegas and it's in that Las Vegas heat. We'll talk about Kelsey's last name. She's actually Puerto Rican.
I am.
Yeah, half Puerto Rican, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's why the last name.
Yep.
Can't you tell with the features, the Puerto Rican
I'm the whitest.
We can show them the Puerto Rican features.
What is that? No, stop.
No, we're not going to do that. Not on camera. But what so with Conor, he has to start running. His conditioning will get better if he starts putting foot to pavement. I'm telling you, Josh, that's what I'm saying, man. The foot to pavement is going to be far and away better because not only is it expanding your lungs more because you're twisting your body as you run, it actually puts pressure on your calves, on your quads, on your hamstrings, things that you use during the fight, not sitting on a bike and twirling your legs around with no arm movement. It's not the same. So I think that's what he'll need. Josh wants the features. She is white. She's half Puerto Rican and white.
Yeah. Mostly I look white, though. I don't look Puerto Rican at all.
You take after your mom.
Yep. I do.
But that's what I think is going to happen with this. Now, you have this weird triangle at 155 as well with Conor, Khabib, and Tony Ferguson. Now, I don't see how this logjam gets unclogged because is the UFC going to go, okay, Conor, you either need to vacate or defend your title, and they're going to jump over Tony to get to Khabib? I don't think that's what they would do. Why would you defend your title, not against the interim champ, but the guy behind the interim champ? Or are they going to say, okay, Tony, you're going to fight Khabib for the right to fight Conor when they just told Tony he's the interim champ and he's going to fight Conor after 10, straight wins? I don't know what happens. I think the most interesting matchup, I think, would be Tony Ferguson versus Khabib because of Tony's just doesn't. I mean, the guy's pace just doesn't stop. Neither does Khabib. Tony's great off his back. He will catch you if you were any kind of sloppiness off of your on the ground and pound. He will catch you. But Khabib is so meticulous and he just lays on you and wears you down and breaks you. And Tony, you've never seen him, quote unquote, break, especially in these last 10 fights. So I think that matchup's crazy. If I were to guess, I'd probably go with the chat. I don't think they're going to strip him. I think the UFC is going to give Conor every single opportunity in these first 4 months of the year, from January to April, to really find out what he wants to do. And at that point, if it's May in the summer and Conor's still pulling this BS, then I think they would strip him because you would have to at that point. You would have to.
So sad. I want to see him fight again so bad.
Of course, I do too. I'm a big Conor fan.
Yeah, we all know. Trust me.
And that's the thing. I think what will happen is, we'll see in these first 4 months, Conor will probably fight Tony, or Tony will fight Khabib. Winner of that fight will take on Conor, and then we'll have something, in the 155 division finally that's, not such a logjam. Tony is very beautiful. Khabib is
Did you say beautiful?
Beatable.
Oh, it's like, geez.
Talking to Josh here. We're having a combo, right? Yeah, Tony's very beautiful. I mean, his chin is out there when he punches, when he comes forward. He leaves that chin out there, and for Conor, that just takes one left hand. For Khabib, he's a hard matchup for anyone. He gets on top of you. Tony had trouble with Kevin Lee on top in that first round. Not to say that he was in any kind of danger of losing the fight, but he was getting hit with bombs. And Khabib doing that with relentless pace and not getting tired. It's a different story. Do I feel there's no hype in the Whitaker-Rockhold match? It's tough, man, because the UFC is this last quarter of the year, they've really tried to focus and pull 217 out of their asses because they kind of had a down year. In that last quarter, they really wanted to skyrocket the numbers to make up for a little bit of it, and they're kind of, what really should be happening is a congruent, fluid movement of the company from fight to fight to fight, always talking about, always giving the same promotion to different fighters, and for whatever reason, these guys that don't talk and don't have the brash ability, and the UFC doesn't put a rocket on their back, they get left behind. Now, Luke Rockhold, a little bit cringy when he talks. Maybe not let him talk as much anymore because the guy looks like $1 million, but he opens his mouth and it sounds like he doesn't speak English. It's crazy to me. And he's just super inappropriate. And it's just so weird.
Who is it?
Luke Rockhold. He's the guy that said that I think we were watching him the cringiest things on YouTube I was showing you.
Oh, that guy?
Yeah. And he
the
was
one
like,
that was on that show?
He was on the dating show.
Yeah.
He was asking that girl. Ugh. But he's just a weird dude. And, you know, for Robert Whittaker, he doesn't really promote himself. And we've talked about this before in the chat. He shouldn't have to. This is a promotion company in the UFC. They should put the fighters, and the same thing happens with Stipe. They should promote the fighters. That's what they're there to do. But as a fighter, if you really want that big payday, you're going to have to do a little bit of that yourself to get the company behind you. It's always a double-edged sword because that takes away from your training. Does make you, it's hard to do that and balance being a champion. And Robert Whittaker's so young. That guy's going to be in this game for a long time. The fight slept on, but I guarantee you not on the weight concept. We're ready for that.
What?
Well, maybe it slept on by one of us, but I'm ready for that fight. The UFC 221 fight in Australia. When are they going to create a Grand Prix? A Grand Prix would be... Have you seen the video of Rockhold in Mayweather's gym? No, I haven't seen the video of Rockhold sparring in Mayweather's gym. I got to check that out. I've seen him at other gyms. I saw him training with... Absolutely. The people that don't watch the UFC know these big-time names that the UFC is obviously behind because Brock Lesnar's a freak. Conor is the best talker in the business. Nate Diaz beat Conor, so he gets the rub, from beating the guy that everyone else can't beat. So that's natural. But for the guys that are killers, like a Tony Ferguson, like Khabib, who is undefeated in the UFC and he has undefeated in MMA and he has 25 fights. Like Luke Rockhold, who looks like $1 million, but put a muzzle on his mouth and just put him out there because he's a great representative of what your company should be if you just don't let him talk.
Yeah.
Because he's a nasty fighter, man. But it's just tough because, the UFC is going to do what they're going to do and really keep the entertainment aspect of that business going. They're going to have to fall behind people that make them the most money. And unfortunately, that's only one or two people right now. You need to build stars to make your company better, and they just don't do a good job of it. We need more promotions for the other guys. I'm with you. They need to promote these guys like we've talked about. Max Holloway should be in that conversation. TJ Dillashaw should be in that conversation. For Christ's sake, Demetrius Johnson's one of the best MMA fighters to ever live. Where's he at? Why not him?
He's saying GSP or GSP.
GSP. I mean, in his heyday was the best in the business, and he was drawing pay-per-view numbers. But unfortunately, the way he's vacated the title, it's left him in a kind of a tough spot. And I wanted to go back to the Grand Prix. I think the UFC would be depending on how it does with Bellator. I think the UFC is probably going to look at that and say, okay, we might do that ourselves. If they were going to do it, I think they should do one maybe in the women's 145, maybe in the new women's 125, even though they just kind of did that with the tough finale. Maybe even at heavyweight, something, I don't know, but find something that, one of these divisions that really is having a hard time getting off the ground and do something like that and bring more fighters in. I think they could benefit from it. But yeah, this Khabib Conor stuff is going to be nuts to watch in the future.
I can't wait.
I
hope it happens.
I just want to see what the UFC does with all three of those guys because it's such a confusing and interesting and exciting and kind of depressing thing to look at because there's so many different angles they can take, and you hope for them to take the best angle and really, either Conor versus Tony versus Khabib, and then versus Conor, something, or strip Conor. You hope they do the right thing, but there's so many different options that they have to look over. They'll probably end up doing the complete wrong thing, and someone's going to get left out. So we'll see what happens. But I want to talk really quickly before we get into our stuff about UFC Fight Night coming up on the 14th. And I don't know if you guys have seen this card, but this is a pay-per-view style card. Khabib versus McGregor. I think everybody would pay for that fight.
Seriously.
Especially if they do it in Russia. They'll sell out in a matter of 10 minutes.
That'd be
Those
insane,
people think Khabib is Superman over there. And
really?
I think he is too at this point. But he's loved by the Russians.
Has him and Conor ever fought?
No. And they've been building to it now for a little bit, so I think it would be great to see those two guys, the best of Ireland, the best, of style and entertainment, the best trash talker in the world, the guy that doesn't seem like he's ever phased versus the guy that breaks every single person he's with. We've seen Conor, quote-unquote, break, and the guy in Khabib who doesn't talk a lot. I didn't even know Khabib had kids until this pay-per-view.
Oh, yeah.
When he talked about it after. I knew he was married, but I didn't know he had kids. I didn't know he had a girl until he hugged her in the octagon. I didn't know he had another kid. The guy just doesn't talk about his life. Versus a guy who's a straight-up born killer from Russia that doesn't speak a lot, that just goes out there and ragdolls people and beats them up until they quit.
The Soviet versus Irishman.
Yeah, I thought Khabib... Yeah, exactly. The Soviet and the Irishman.
God.
Conor McGregor. Ooh,
that was a good one.
Pretty good. Huh? Working on my Irish accent. Okay, it might be part Irish, a little bit in my lineage. Okay, Me and Connor have talked about it. He might be part Irish.
Oh, you just love
Yeah,
him.
I thought Khabib was just. I knew he was married, but I didn't know he had kids. But apparently he has two. That's how much he never talks about himself. But anyway, let's talk about this fight night card really quickly.
I haven't even seen this.
For you guys that don't know, there's a fight night St. Louis card coming up on the 14th, and the UFC's stacked this card. And it's kind of confusing that none of these fights have been on pay-per-views, and I know one of them hasn't, and that's for a reason I can talk about shortly. But we'll just go to the top kind of 5 fights that would usually be a part of your main card, starting with Michael Johnson, who you guys remember from the Khabib fight, and who, you know, had a war with Justin Gaethje, versus Darren Elkins, the Damage, fighting out of Team Alpha Male. I think he's on a 3-fight winning streak, I want to say. And both these guys, you know, it's in that lightweight division, trying to get back into that top 10 conversation. Yeah, we'll talk about that main event in a second, but Stevens versus Duo Choi is going to be phenomenal. That could be another close, because Duo Choi has the fight of the year, 2016. Stevens versus Duo Choi could put on the same type of classic. But Michael Johnson versus Darren Elkins. Darren Elkins is one of these guys that grinds out fights. He's 24-5, which a lot of people don't realize. He hasn't lost at many fights. It's just his style is very conducive to a guy that you would think that either gets decisions or loses by decision. Obviously, people know Darren Elkins from his kind of shock win over, what is the guy's name at UFC 200? Or not 200, but 208, I think. But he's down 2 rounds to 1. I can't remember the guy's name. He down 2 rounds to 1 and comes back and wins the fight in the third round, late in the third round, with a head kick, and just lets out that primal scream. Like, you know, he just because he was getting beat, and not like decision beat. He was getting beat up. And just reverse position, got up and head kicked the guy, and gets up and just lets it all out like he had just let out his last, you know, all of his heart.
Wait, who are you talking about?
Chick, what's going on? Hi, guys.
Hi.
Darren Elkins.
Oh.
Just lets out this massive scream and just roar. You know, just shows all his passion that he just put everything into that fight and finally had overcome the other fighter. So that was an amazing moment. And, you know, you watch that fight again and it almost, you know, gets you a little choked up. Because that's
Dang,
tough.
You getting a little sad? You gonna
No,
cry?
not sad, but it's just inspiring.
Oh, it's okay. Don't cry.
She likes to make a mockery of our sport, guys.
Aww.
Look at her. Everybody finds out she's Puerto Rican, and now she's gonna sassy.
No.
See, that's the problem. I didn't even know who that was. Exactly. You don't know who Darren Elkins is, and the UFC has a problem with promoting these guys. But if you can find a way to, again, they're going to fight at 145. Excuse me. So Michael Johnson's coming down a weight class to fight him at 145. That's interesting. But they need to find a way for these guys to really promote, because that's a great story with this guy, Darren Elkins. And Michael Johnson coming off, you know, a tough loss to Justin Gaethje. You know, great fight from both guys. Fight of the year nominee. But he needs to get back on the horse. He's always got danger in those hands. Always got power. So it'll be an interesting fight. Darren Elkins can for sure take a punch. So we'll see if Michael Johnson has enough to finish him. And he's coming down 10 more pounds in that weight class. So might see some diminishing returns there. Now this fight we talked about in the Joshua loves the Ricans.
Love Ricans. That's funny. What do you
feel like Michael Johnson is the gatekeeper. Michael Johnson is, for all intents and purposes, at 155, one of those guys that can never really break into that top 10 and you know, always look like he could. I mean, I always go back to this, but Joe Rogan had kind of oversold the punch he landed on Khabib. He looked good on the feet against Khabib, and obviously Khabib does what he does and ragdolls people around, but is one of those guys that's always going to be around, you know, is always going to have power in those hands. Great technique, great boxing, but just can't ever seem to get over the hump again. But another fight that people are again sleeping on, and one of these guys that no one really knows about, who's probably going to be a champ at 170 one day, is Kamaru Usman. And he's fighting Emil Meek, who had some problems with his visa trying to get out of Norway, he was supposed to be on the UFC 219 card. Then he was supposed to be on UFC 20. Somehow they met in the middle, and he's going to be on the Fight Night card in St. Louis. This fight is another one of those. It's going to be really, really, it's slept on. It's going to be a really good fight. Kamaru Usman is a straight-up destroyer. This guy packs power in his hands, great takedowns, lands big shots. Again, just super athletic, young guy. He's going to be he's right on that cusp of the top 10, and one of these days, him Darren Till, they're on that same trajectory to where they can really, and no one wants to fight Kamaru Usman. They've tried to give him everybody from Nate Diaz to
and nobody wants to fight him.
Colby Covington, and no one wants those problems. One, because he's not a name that a lot of people know, and no one's going to go out there Darren Till style, or excuse me, Donald Cerrone style, and just fight an unknown like Darren Till and get absolutely murdered. You know, and I think that Donald Cerrone fight opened a lot of fighters' eyes to not fighting down as much, because these killers with no name, no one wants to give them a shot at the big time until they just, you know, run through the gauntlet. If you try to skip the line and fight Colby Covington and you get Kamaru Usman versus Colby Covington, Kamaru Usman would walk, and this is hot take central, but Kamaru Usman would walk through Colby Covington right now. And that's the problem at 170. Not the problem per se, but just the dynamic you have is everyone in the top 10 is a killer. Everyone can hold the title. So I expect Usman out of that fight. Then you have Paige Van Zant versus Jessica Rose Clark. You know, an introduction to 125 for Paige Van Zant. She thinks she's gonna, you know, be a world champ there. We'll see. Jessica Rose Clark, been around a long time. Loves to stand and strike. We'll see what happens in that fight. I don't really see a lot coming from that fight as far as, you know, any kind of flash knockout or super entertaining value. People obviously want to watch Paige Van Zant because she's the UFC's pretty girl, and that's all they want out of that. Don't look at me like that when I say pretty girl.
I didn't.
Jeez. The UFC's. Do you think Covington dislikes Brazilians because he got whipped by... I think Covington, I think he just takes little things, and expands them and over ostracizes them and makes them huge to get views and to get, you know, people talking about him. I don't think he hates Brazilians. I think that they treated him kind of unfairly when he was down there because he was fighting a Brazilian, and those people get passionate, and I think he took that and ran with it because he saw that it got people looking at him. I think he's a little bit of a troll. I like it because he's an entertaining guy. But I don't think he dislikes Brazilians. I think he's just, you know, for whatever reason, well, I know the reason. He's trying to get that title fight with Woodley, and he just wants people to talk about him. I think Alexis Davis is still fighting. She had a fight last year, but I'm not particularly sure if she's still signed with the UFC. But yeah, Paige Van Zant versus Jessica Rose Clark, we'll see. I don't expect a lot from it. If Paige Van Zant wins, cool. If Jessica Rose Clark wins, all right. That 125 division still has a lot of sorting out to do. I'd love to see Shevchenko win that 125 title because she is a monster. And then two more fights, and we'll get to Kellsie Weight Talk.
Kellsie Weight Talk. Woo!
Uriah Hall versus Vitor Belfort. Vitor, again, one of these veterans in the game. It's going to be tough for him. Eagle, what's going on, man? Welcome in. It's going to be tough to keep validating reasons for Vitor Belfort to fight. I mean, he's been stopped his last two. I think he got stopped by Kelvin Gastelum, and before that got stopped by, again, I'm blanking. But he's been stopped his last two, I'm pretty sure.
I'm not going to know.
Pretty sure, but Kevin Gastelum stopped him cold. And, you know, it might be time. I mean, he's off TRT. There's no more TRT Vitor, and you can see it in his body. He's got flabby dad bod all day. And the poor guy is just, you know, I don't know if he's doing it for the money. I'm not sure if it's a pride thing, but it might be time. And the one guy that would probably be the guy to retire him is somebody who's going to stand and strike with him, and that's Uriah Hall.
Did you see Josh's wife sparred her?
Get out of here.
Yeah, 5 years ago.
Josh, talk about more of that in the chat, man. I want to see that. That's so cool.
There's Flames of Youth.
Flames. What's going on? Welcome back. Welcome back.
Hello.
Probably hates Brazilians even more. Oh, yeah. Well, the Verdum thing, that was, you know, Colby doing his thing, trolling, and Verdum, for whatever reason, doesn't really have any kind of filter on what he does in public. I mean, he tried to throw around Tony Ferguson. He likes to throw around these little guys. You'd think Verdum, he's, you know, a killer in the heavyweight division, probably one of the baddest men on the planet, would be able to compose himself, but he just said, all right, I'm just going to throw a boomerang at him for disrespecting my people. And you can't really blame him, but at the same time, good God, you're 270 pounds. Control yourself, Verdum. He is, man. Verdum doesn't care. He tries to slap everybody around that's 100 pounds less than he is. But no, I like Verdum, man. He's a good fighter. He's a good guy from all intents and purposes. It's just when you know, talk about the Brazilian people, don't expect to not get smacked around. But Uriah Hall is probably the best guy to fight Vitor at this moment. They're both going to stand. Uriah Hall, a younger guy that just, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's a mental thing with him, but man, he has all the intangibles to be, you know, one of the best guys at 185. And his ground game, you know, isn't quite what it needs to be in that top 10. or at least survive in that top 10. But I know he's been working on it. His striking's bar none some of the best technically there is in the UFC. If you go back and watch his amazing KO that everybody knows from The Ultimate Fighter, but he just can't seem to pull it together. And I think he's one of these guys that, I don't want to label him as this, but one of these guys that you see in the training room that just knocking folks dead, and he's got this amazing technique, and he can beat anyone in the training room, and then when the lights come on, he's a different guy. But I'm rooting for him because I think that guy can really still do, make waves at 185, and I really don't want to see Vitor fight anymore. I think it's time. I think it's been past time. But, an interesting fight, and if anyone is going to retire Vitor, I think it'd be Uriah Hall, just because their styles are very conducive. And then the main event, Doo-Ho Choi versus Jeremy the Little Heathen Stevens. That's going to be a great fight, guys. So do you think that they should get rid of the gloves and go bare knuckle? I'm not going to go full Joe Rogan and go they should get rid of the gloves and fight bare knuckle. The sport wouldn't be as conducive for TV, one, because the blood's going to be everywhere. Knuckles cut people's faces, regardless of, where they get hit. You're going to get cut because knuckles are sharp. It's not as conducive for TV viewership, and a WME-owned company is going to want TV viewership and entertainment and ratings, so I doubt that they're going to go that way. I sparred Lance Evans.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Josh, big man.
I know. He knows
I think
everyone.
he talked about being at Victory when we were on
yeah.
the last podcast.
Yeah, he did.
That's so cool, man. I would love to come out there and go to some of these gyms in New York, man. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Me coming up there and doing that, but that's so cool, man. I want to get out there and spar some cool people. I would get messed up though, especially now.
You break
right
your
now.
other arm.
But yeah, it's tough when you have these guys that because with gloves on, the technique doesn't have to be as sharp. You can kind of throw bombs, and yeah, you might break a knuckle here and there, but you're gonna knock someone dead. It's a fine line with the gloves, what you should do. Some people have said you need to cover the fingers because the eye pokes, and John Jones uses those very well. It's one of those techniques they teach down at Jackson's. But, that's the only thing you can really do, because if you eliminate gloves, you're going to talk about more guys. Either more guys are going to stop punching in the face, and it's going to be a less entertaining fight with a bunch of body shots. From the casual standpoint, I would still find it entertaining. I think that's a different strategy that people can employ. But or you're going to see guys cutting everybody to pieces, and there's going to be blood all over the place, and no one's going to watch that. So, yeah, they would go full Ivan Drago. If he dies, he dies. Right in the middle of the octagon. But let me know what you guys think about this Doo-Ho Choi, Jeremy Stevens fight. I think, gosh, it's going to be a war. Doo-Ho Choi got one of the best chins, will smile in your face. Look at Doo-Ho Choi's face. You can't tell me he doesn't look like a Korean pop singer.
He does.
Right? He looks like a South Korean pop singer. And he is just one of these guys that's just super happy to be there, always smiling, and gets in the fight and turns into a murderer. Throws bombs and stands right in the pocket with you, doesn't back off. I mean, you can look at the Cub Swanson fight, was the fight of the year in 2016. Amazing fight. And Jeremy Stevens is always game. Jeremy Stevens is adding things to his game, adding knees, adding kicks. That guy's going to be tough to beat. So I am so excited for that fight that I can't wait. But we'll see. We'll see if and this is a big fight regardless of the entertainment value, because the winner of this fight is right in that 145 kind of conversation to challenge Max after Frankie Edgar and, possibly maybe after, guys like Brian Ortega, because that's going to bolster either one of those into that top 10, top 7 range. And the rankings sometimes don't mean shit anymore. Excuse my language, but they just don't anymore. So I think those are big time. That's a big time fight and could have repercussions. Who wouldn't like to see a Doo-Ho Choi Max Holloway fight in the future? Even though Max would pick him apart, but who knows? Stevens is 26-14. Doo-Ho is 14-2. Yeah, Stevens has evolved so much over his time in the UFC, and it's not like his 14 losses aren't to anybody. The rankings, they don't matter anymore.
Did you get this one? I think when you talked about that.
When you see Khabib,
who do you see?
Oh, where do you see Khabib in the future? Is he going to fight Tony or Conor? Flames, we talked about it a little bit earlier. It's tough, man. There's that big triangle at the top, and it's a big log jam. I see Khabib fighting, and I hate to say it because I don't know what you do. I don't think you can just bypass Tony Ferguson and have Conor fight Khabib, even though they do want to do a Russia card. I think Tony versus Khabib is the fight because they wanted that fight to begin with. I don't know how happy Tony's going to be about that. Either this is what's going to happen. You either make Tony fight Khabib, and either you got to do it early next year. I would think March. I know Khabib said he wanted to fight in after Ramadan, which would be in September. So I don't know, but I think you do it either March, April, May time, or you have Conor fight Tony and have Khabib wait and then fight the winner. it's such a weird thing because you can't have Conor not fight the interim title holder, and then you can't have Khabib not fight either one of them. I don't know. It's something that's going to be interesting to see how they deal with it. Yeah, and the rankings don't matter anymore. They want big, entertaining fights from guys that they know are going to make them money. And that's why, these rankings, they don't mean anything, but at the same time, they mean everything because Colby Covington as a guy that can jump from 7 to 3 because of his marketability and his, troll factor. And I think that Jeremy Stephens and Duo Choi, with really no one else in that 145 division, could climb those ranks because you don't have a lot of brash-speaking 145ers anymore. Conor was it pretty much in that division. Jeremy Stephens kind of can hold that belt, even though he's the who the F is that guy.
Who the F is that guy?
Yeah, that's Jeremy Stephens. Even Kellsie knows that. But yeah, we'll see. The UFC does have that WWE aspect to it, but there's obviously some things they need to be doing. What are you eating? At least promote it if you're gonna eat it.
What are these? Gatorade Prime Energy Chews. They're good.
What do they do for you?
I don't know. They just taste good.
That's the worst promotion you could have ever done. No sponsorship, by the way. Gatorade's not sponsoring the video. Okay, there we go.
They taste like gummy bears, huh?
No, it's not bad.
I think that's what made me nauseous the other day.
I'm going to be chewing the next 15 minutes because of you.
Okay, well, chew faster.
We'll take over while I do.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Just chew faster.
Anyway.
Swallow it.
Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of our breakdown for this week. We had some news outside of the UFC. Excuse me.
Oh my God, you really are chewing forever.
Some news outside of the UFC with Roy McDonald getting paid his Bitcoin. Which, if you guys don't know a lot about Bitcoin, I don't either. So, there you go. But that's a thing now, I guess.
Everyone's getting rich off of it.
Yeah, apparently. We should have invested when we were 18 and didn't know what we were doing.
We would have been rich.
But that's happening. But so far as the new year's going, we're going to have some really good fights. I hope you guys are excited for those. I'm excited. January 14th, you guys got to join me. I'm going to be doing my live stream reaction video. I want all of you there with me. We're going to have a good time. And that one's a free fight, so you guys can watch with me. We'll talk fights. We'll talk about where the UFC is going.
I'll be there in spirit.
Kellsie will be there in spirit and maybe in cardboard cutout.
I was thinking that the other day,
Maybe.
What if I buy you a cardboard cutout?
We should post MMA news, like maybe 2 minutes of information or rumors. I was thinking about that. What I was thinking about doing for the channel was doing the MMA weeklies. Yeah, we're going to stream the fights. You're dang right. I am always streaming the fights.
I'll be in the chat.
We'll figure out a way. We'll figure out a way to get you in. We might have to.
Maybe you put me on FaceTime.
Well, I was going to say, maybe we can FaceTime you and have you facing the camera. Something like that. We'll get Kellsie in there because, again, ratings.
I'll just talk to everyone in the chat. I'll be like, hey, guys.
She'll just be on there with you. Chelsea.
Wow.
Kellsie is a interest of the people. She's here for you guys. She is your queen, all right?
Chill out.
If you want ratings, bring a poll. Geez, don't start with a puppy talk.
Bring a puppy?
Don't start with a puppy talk.
How did he know I wanted one?
Don't start.
He knew.
No.
Oh,
no puppies will be.
Bad. I want a weenie dog.
Okay. No puppies will be entering my stream as of right now.
Weenie dog. We're going to get
Except
one now.
these puppies. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Ow.
Yeah, how'd that feel?
Break my other arm. But no. We will be streaming the fights. You should use Kellsie as a screenshot pick for all your vids.
I was thinking
Josh,
that too.
we were doing that. We were doing that every vid, and I can't believe how much. And I wanted to tell you guys thank you so much on some, mushy stuff. But thank you guys so much for being able to support us. I know it's mostly because of her, but I really do appreciate it. The channel's small. We love everything you guys do for us. We love the support. We love talking to you guys. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I have a question regarding the next event, 220 heavyweight. Why is UFC putting Miocic as an underdog? Flames, in my opinion, I have no idea why. As far as for the MMA purists to go, I'm not sure. You never should put the underdog as a champion, especially when he's knocked everyone in the heavyweight division out. I think they're doing it because Francis is so gosh darn scary, and because the way he knocked out Alistair Overeem, the hype train that is Francis Ngannou. Vegas is putting him as the favored because of what they see. It's not a behind the scenes thing. When someone sees someone get flatlined, like they saw Alistair Overeem get hit, and the size that Francis carries around, and the speed he shows, and even the strength and the clinch that he showed against Alistair, because Alistair couldn't do anything with him. I think that it's conducive to a lot of the eye tests that a lot of casual fans see when they see a Francis Ngannou throw the left hand from Cameroon and start someone.
Cameroon.
Versus, Stipe, who looks like an unassuming guy, who wins fights, doesn't really say anything. The UFC's not promoting him like they're promoting Francis. Vegas takes a look at that and says, okay, well, this must be the guy. This must be the, next great heavyweight champion we're looking for. So we're going to, we need to favor the guy with the KO power that's knocking fools dead left and right, that doesn't seem to have, anyone that can match him. I think it's bullcrap. I think Stipe, if he gets the fight to the ground, is going to really show Francis what the heavyweight division's all about. We haven't seen Francis go 5 yet. Stipe is going to keep pace the entire time, and people forget that Stipe's boxing is legit. So I don't know.
You're in the doghouse tonight, according to Josh. Because you forgot my name.
I didn't forget her name.
Kellsie. Who is that? Should I be worried?
We can talk after. I'm just kidding.
Right.
No, did not forget her name. I'm just talking very fast.
Yeah, okay.
Letters come out
That's
differently.
what they all say.
Because, they want to make Ngannou look like a monster. Yeah, he's from Cameroon. Yeah, great story behind him. I think the UFC really wants to push it. The guy was homeless in Cameroon, moves to France, starts training MMA, becomes a monster.
Boom.
But I'm with freestyle. Everyone's sleeping on Stipe, and the guy has ran through the entire division, knocked out Fabricio Verdum going backward, getting chased and knocked him out. Amazing. Took a big shot from Alistair and came back and starched him on the ground. I mean, no one does what Stipe does. And if he wins one more, he's the best heavyweight to ever live, in my opinion. I don't care. Fedor won some fights because of that Russian government. But we'll see. We will see. But that he could have, man. Alistair, sorry, I keep seeing the comments. But
it's all right, whatever.
Alistair went for a freaking guillotine on the ground when he had Stipe wobbled. Why not ground and pound him and win the fight? It is going to be a really good fight. I think it's going to be one of the best in early 2018. I want to see if something go past that first. I want to see if Francis really has that gas tank, because he does have to cut a little bit of weight to get to heavyweight. And Stipe is going to be in his face the entire fight. We'll see. Now then.
Dun, 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 dun,
This is
dun,
your
dun,
highlight
dun,
section of
dun,
the
dun,
podcast today.
dun.
Look at my boy Jay Cuppy. Hold on.
Oh.
Celtics Cavs tonight. Who you got? Hurry.
Who does
Celtics
Jacob like?
No, we're not. No. You can't just jump on the bandwagon.
Do Celtics.
You gonna go with Celtics?
Yeah, let's just do it.
Wow, Kellsie with the freaking bandwagon pick. I'll go Cavs, man. IT's dropping 20 and 4. LeBron going for a trip dub, and the Cavs get the win. Look at you people, Cavs all the way. Get a Cavs all the way in the chat. Let my man Jacob know the Celtics ain't nothing.
Ew.
Kelsey's on the bandwagon.
Yeah, whatever.
Really quickly, I want to talk. Cain Velasquez needs to return, and then we'll see what's up in that heavyweight division, because that guy's a young crown champ. And, God, if he can just stay healthy, what would a Francis Ngannou, Cain Velasquez, or a Stipe Miocic, Cain Velasquez fight look like? Holy cow. Anyway, finally, we are here to the point that we are going to talk about Kellsie and I. If you guys want to hear this part
away
right?
real quick.
So I want to do something different with this podcast, because Kelsey's leaving not tomorrow, but Friday. Oh no, it's sad. But we want to do kind of a Q&A. If you guys want to ask some questions about us, we're going to kind of talk about how we met. So how did we meet, Kels?
I saw you sitting on the sidewalk, and you were in a brown box, and I was like, hey, do you need some help? And then that's how we met.
I wasn't homeless in a brown box, but I appreciate that, Flames. But so Kellsie and I we met in California. Yep. She's originally from over there. I lived there, and we actually met at a gym. Yeah. 24-hour fitness. If you guys are going to 24-hour fitness, let us know in the chat. we know the ins and outs of that gym.
Ugh, I know.
I was actually working at 24-hour fitness at the time.
Yeah, and I was going in for an interview.
Yeah, Kellsie comes in for an interview, and I was like, "Who is that?"
Ew, you didn't say it like that.
I went John Stamos on him. Wait, is that John Stamos?
I don't know.
Oh, I went Joey Tribbiani on him. I said, "How you doing?" Like that. No, but Crunch. All right, Josh. Crunch ain't bad. I'm looking for her a new gym. If you guys recommend anything in the Northeast.
It's Anytime Fitness. That's what they have out
Anytime?
there. Yeah.
Anytime's not bad. But anyway, we met there. She walked in for a job interview, and I got all nervous like a little weirdo.
Yeah, and you told a joke, I remember, and the joke sucked. But I laughed to be nice for you, but I don't even remember what the joke was. Do you?
I
really don't remember.
At the time.
Have you guys
I am 25. Kelsey's 22.
Yes.
You guys ever gone to Mexico? Because I've gone to Mexico actually before.
I have gone, yeah. I went on a cruise.
She went on a cruise separate. She went on a cruise a couple years ago. I actually went as a kid to Cozumel. Where did you go?
Ensenada.
Cozumel was more of a touristy kind of thing where you got off and it was like, they would try to sell you stuff and, it wasn't all it was cracked up to be. But I want to go back.
They have great food.
I want to go back. I know. I got to recall that joke. It was something lame, like
it was so weird,
having to do with the weather. Something.
I don't know, but I looked at you and I was like, oh.
But you could tell she didn't think it was funny, and my whole stomach sank.
I was like, oh, this
because I was like, well, there went my shot, But obviously, she's a nice person and laughed. But yeah, it sucked. It sucked. But she was nice, and I could tell that either she liked me or was just trying to be nice because she actually laughed. So she either felt bad for me.
I kind of felt a little bad.
Or I just had these suave good looks and she just couldn't resist. You know what I'm saying? But from there, she got the job.
Yep.
And we just started to kind of talk. And I guess I'm a smooth talker, as they say.
No.
I wooed her.
He wooed.
Ric Flair wooed her.
Every country is dangerous. Like I wouldn't go to some parts in the U.S.
True.
What parts wouldn't you go to in the U.S.? I'm curious. I'm curious. Where? What do you think?
We're from California. What do you think in California no one would go? Compton, Crenshaw.
No, but he's saying in the U.S. Like.
Well, south side of Chicago. There's places you don't want to go.
I guess.
No disrespect.
LA, Chicago.
Yeah, no
LA's
disrespect.
Not that bad.
South Central's bad.
Yeah, I guess.
No disrespect to any place on the country or in the world. I think that's
parts of Florida.
Parts of Florida, no joke. Parts of Florida. But there's bad places everywhere.
Yeah, I guess.
I liked when I went as a kid, but there's bad places everywhere. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it. I hope we get to do more of those reactions together.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was
so fun. But there was just so many people, and everyone was in the chat too, which was making it fun.
Hey, Flame saying me and Joe in the UFC. Let's go.
Oh God, don't even hype him up.
Tell me you guys
like,
wouldn't like me and Joe Rogan calling fights in the UFC. That's my like, mentor, all right? He doesn't know he's my mentor, but I'm his number one protege. All right? Yeah. But no, me and Kellsie, we met, and again we just started talking, and
yep. And then
over time we kind of developed a friendship, and then that kind of turned into more. But yeah.
What a love story.
It was crazy because it was the first time I got to talk to someone
who was so cool.
Who was just that cool. No. Who, I didn't feel like I had to impress. I felt like I could be myself and I didn't have anything attached to my name other than who I was.
How tall are you, Kellsie? I'm 5'5". I'm pretty short.
Yeah, she's a little shouty. I am, on the other hand, 6'3".
He's like 8'1". No,
I'm 9 foot tall.
6'3" and 5'5".
And yeah, a little bit of disparity there, but we make it work.
Yeah.
We make her put on 7-inch heels every time we go out.
I can't walk in heels.
She walks on stilts, basically.
Stilts. I walk on stilts.
You remember the guy in the mall that scared me?
Your hands are cold.
Do you see that?
I'm sorry.
Jeez.
We were at the mall and this guy was on stilts and like came around the corner and scared the hell out of Wade.
And I had
like,
I had my thing on, and the guy was maybe.
Josh's wife is 4. Is that 11? Yeah,
4'11".
Oh my goodness.
How did that? So wait, we have issues with height sometimes because it's like you gotta get on your tiptoes.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes my arm is a little bit too long or whatever.
Yeah.
Josh, you got those same problems? Let us know, man.
How tall are you, Josh?
But yeah, it was. We said he went to Alabama. I've never actually stayed in Alabama. I've been through Alabama a couple times.
Did you woo her with your cologne? Oh, no, he doesn't wear cologne. How many
Colgate?
times?
I got a Colgate Smile though.
Okay, but I have got you how many different types of colognes before? Like 3, 2 or 3.
5'10" and 4'11".
Wow.
I mean, that's kind of how it goes, though. I feel like with guys.
But I'm still stuck on this question.
Girls like tall guys, isn't that right, Josh?
You don't wear cologne.
I don't need to wear a cologne all the time.
He should. I buy it for him all the time, and he doesn't wear it ever. Ever.
No, okay. So cologne is masking my natural odor.
Ooh, my favorite cologne scent. That's a good one. I have 2.
What is it? I should know, I guess, but I don't.
Jake from Hollister. I love that one.
Okay, hold on. Before we go any further, I don't know who Jake from Hollister is, but I'm coming for you.
That's like literally the best one. Put that hair away. That's
I'm coming for
bad.
you. Don't do that.
Jake. I think everybody should wear Jake from Hollister. It smells great. Or I like Curve.
Tease.
Curve or Chrome? No, it's Chrome. Chrome is really good. The blue one, it smells good. I bought you that before, and I
I
don't
don't
know
know
what
where it's
happened
at.
to it. Victoria's Secret.
That's not bad, I guess.
I've never worn that. I always wear. I only have.
Azaro.
I don't know. Oh yeah. That
That's
one.
the one?
Yeah, Azaro Chrome
My personal fragrance
is natural.
preference is Dove
Body
Easy
wash?
Care for Men or something.
Body wash?
It smells good.
That's not what they're talking about.
I don't have
the spray.
I understand, but I don't have any spray. I don't know. Nadia Voyage, cheap and great. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. But then from there, I think we started kind of officially dating when? It's not been that. I mean,
it's been a little while. I mean, I don't know.
Technically 3 years, but not really 3 years.
It's been a little complicated.
Yeah.
Won't get into that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. They
It's
want to
my
know.
fault.
But so tell the viewers what you saw in me that you liked so much. Go ahead, tell them.
No, I'm kidding. You were just really, really nice. I think that's the first thing that like caught me is you were very, very nice. And what are you laughing at?
Nothing. I just want to hear these things.
Oh, I don't know. You were really nice. I didn't really like go, oh my God, he's so hot. Yes, I like him. It wasn't like that. But it did. It was like that a little bit. But no, the first initial thought was you were just really, really nice. That's first.
She did say I was hot, though.
Yeah.
The real beauty does reside inside of my heart, and I am the beholder of.
But I thought you would be mean because, like
You've said that before.
I have, because you have that look, you know.
Big pimpin'. No, I have that look of being mean.
You have that like look of like, you know, like a guy who's super hot and he's just like buff and tall and
Used to be.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I don't
What I saw in Kellsie was just her smile lit up a room when she walked in. It was like I'd worked at 24-hour fitness for about a year. Didn't really know what I wanted to do, and we've talked about this on my podcast before. I didn't really know what I was doing in my life at that point. And I think, just now I'm starting to figure it out with this MMA podcast and the reactions and just going back into MMA journalism, which is something I'd always had a passion for. At the time, I was so kind of up in the air on what I wanted to do in my life. And here comes this beauty walking into my gym, and, it was just different. I looked at her and her smile and everything about it was just, I literally, we talked about this in the car. We talked, I did a little thing, they interviewed her, and then she went home, and I went and talked to my boss. I was like, is she going to get that job?
And I got that job, but not because of weight. I got it on my own.
And he was like, she's a good candidate, man. I was like, well, are you going to hire her? Because I want you to hire her. He's like, I'm not going to hire her because you think she's cute. But she ended up getting the job.
I know. Wait.
Where do we work?
I work at a restaurant because I think he knows. Yeah, because he was in the chat last time.
Yeah.
Up in Rhode Island, I work at a restaurant. And then what else do I do? Oh, I got a security job, so I do that.
Kelsey's going to school as well.
Yeah.
I am doing an internship right now with a media group down here, and I'm also doing. Wait, said hire her. I told him, man, I was like, hire her, get her in here. I need her.
Hey, Flames thinks we're engaged. We are not engaged.
Not yet. Not yet.
We're not.
We're not quite there yet, but we've been dating for a while, and I'm sure that's coming in the near future, but not exactly know when yet. But
disrespect right here. Who are you gonna protect?
Dang. Hey, wait till she got that Glock 40.
Yeah.
Then ask her who she's protecting.
I wish I could carry my gun. I can't. They won't let
Kellsie
me.
has more guns than I do.
Yeah.
So don't mess with Kels, all right?
I do.
But I work as an independent contractor with companies like Gatorade. That's why we have those.
Under Armour.
As Kellsie destroys the mic.
Sorry.
I work with, that's Gatorade. I don't know why you said Under Armour.
No, you said Gatorade and then I said
Oh, yeah, like Under Armour as well. I work with them. But Flames, any tips on how to get a happy partner? I don't really know. I don't think you have any, there's no rule set for any of that. I think that's just, you find someone that makes you feel like.
Find someone who makes you laugh.
Find someone that makes you laugh. I think finding someone that makes you feel like, they care. And not just I like the way you look, and I like the way that,
because that's
you
only
dress.
Temporary. That's not going to.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think someone that makes you laugh, and I think someone that can show you, what it is that sometimes you don't see in yourself. that confidence you can't have in yourself and makes you better. I think that's the person you're looking for. And once you find them, you almost don't see it coming. It's just natural.
Just there, boom. I prefer 38 special. Do you know what that is?
It's a gun, Kellsie.
I know that's a gun, but like I don't know what.
I think it's just another pistol.
I've shot. What have I shot? Do you know? Can you name every?
9mm.
Okay. What else?
Glock.
Well, it's pretty much the same thing, but yeah.
You shot at rifles. You
What's
shot
the
at
big
AR-15,
one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shot a lot of guns.
I've shot a shotgun. That was scary.
Hold on a second. What just happened with John Jones? This happened on stream?
What happened? What happened? I was
Hold on,
talking
guys.
about guns
Keep talking about guns.
And then you interrupted me. Yeah.
I'm getting trolled right now.
What did he say?
It said something about John Jones, something breaking news. Oh, Nowitzki said John Jones intentionally used steroids. Oof. Let's go. Nowitzki was on Joe Rogan's podcast today. I hadn't gotten to listen to it yet. But if he's saying, if the head of USADA is saying John Jones intentionally used,
he's done.
He might be done.
He's done. Bye, Wade.
Kelsey's leaving the podcast.
No, I'm kidding. I'm coming back. I'm just
She's all gone. She's leaving me. Oh, doesn't believe. Excuse me. He doesn't believe he intentionally used. That's a good sign for John Jones. Sorry, I read that wrong. That's actually a great sign for John Jones. So Jeff Nowitzki, if you guys don't know, is the head, or at least the operating head of USADA. And what he does is basically he's the main guy in the USADA testing for the UFC. And if John Jones is, dang, Josh getting technical with me.
I know.
If John Jones is not intentionally using steroids, or at least in the opinion of USADA isn't intentionally using, it's a good sign for him. I don't know if particularly he'll ever be able to get the UFC fan base back on his side after 2 failed tests and the cocaine issues and hitting a woman with his car and she was pregnant.
My God,
yeah,
really?
A lot of stuff.
Damn.
And, but if he's unknowingly using again, which is really, really hard to believe, especially from, people in the know who've talked about it, I don't know if he did or not, but it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what USADA thinks. And if they think he doesn't knowingly do these things, that ban goes from a 4-year ban to maybe even possibly just another 1 year.
I almost left when Kellsie left. I'm kidding. Sorry.
I'm telling you, man. She's a ratings popper. As soon as she leaves, I'm going down the drain.
That's so sad.
I'm with Flames. Now, I'm just going to take a side note and talk about John Jones for a second.
Flames.
But I believe John Jones is the greatest pound-for-pound fighter to ever live. I think he cheapened his name with these allegations and with the stuff he's done over the last 4 years. Because, gosh, if you talk about a clean John Jones the last 4 years, all the guys he's beat, there's no question if he does steroids, no question of PEDs. He beats Daniel Cormier twice, the guy who doesn't lose to anybody not named John Jones, beats Alexander Gustafsson, beats Vitor, just runs through every single person in the division, beats Rashad, beats Chael. I mean, every single person, he's made them look obsolete, right? And so it's tough if they want to say John Jones isn't knowingly using. I don't know if I can particularly believe it, but if the UFC believes it and USADA believes it, that's all that really matters. So it's good news for John. Hopefully, I mean, I'm not going to say I don't want to see him fight. Who wouldn't want to see John Jones fight? I'll have to read more about it. I didn't catch Jeff Nowitzki on Joe Rogan's podcast today, but I will go back and listen. Absolutely. Now, sorry, had to deviate. When people hit me in the live chat, all right, I have to cover the news. I have to cover the news. All right.
Whatever.
John,
eye poker.
Hey, that Jackson eye poke technique. Let me show you. Oh, you gonna do it? Oh, there it is. But yeah, that's part of John Jones' repertoire: the teat kicks and the eye pokes. Jackson's finest. But no. Back to us.
Oh gosh, I don't think they like that.
Well, I just didn't know. I appreciate the chat. You guys let me know about that because I had seen Jeff Nowitzki was on today, and I should have known they would talk about John Jones. But I think he's a cheater. I think he's a cheater in many different ways. I wish that I could see it another way. And if it comes out, look, we don't know strictly anything about this test as far as the product he used or what had happened. We just know that he got popped again, and it's for this drug called Turinabol that no one really knows where it comes from. So, if they can somehow backtrack it and find, the breadcrumbs into where he got it, and if there's factual evidence, then I'll change my mind. But until then, he's a cheater. Oh, there you go. How'd your mom and dad meet?
Oh gosh. So I'm trying to remember exactly. They actually used to live in the same apartment complex, and I think my mom lied and said she was like 18, and my mom was 14 at the time, and my dad was 18. He was older, and my mom lied, and my dad had no idea.
Hey, what's going on?
Yeah, they just met at. I'm talking.
Sorry, I got
talking right now.
Sorry.
But no, they met at an apartment complex that they used to live, at the same one together, and yeah, they're still like really good friends though. I mean, yeah, but my mom. Yeah, my mom lied.
Jesus, we're not supporting that on the channel.
Sorry.
Thank you, Uzair. I appreciate it, man. We're doing our best over here. We got Kellsie for one more day, so had to bring her on. But yeah. Kellsie and I did not meet that way, thank goodness.
No, I was of age.
I
was
18. Look,
what do you say?
A lot of people say that about Kelsey's mom.
Oh my God, no! Everybody loves my mom. Like it's bad.
What's wrong with that? Why do people love your mom?
Her boobies.
We're gonna get so demonetized on my video because of this. Jesus. Not that we even get monetized yet, but we're gonna get demonetized now. No, but. I don't even know how to move on from that, to be honest with you.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah, she's gonna see that. She's gonna see that.
Is your mom a white blondie?
Oh.
Yep, that's exactly. Yeah, my mom's super white blonde. My dad's super dark.
That's exactly what it is. Too, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you don't have the Puerto Rican kind of look, I guess.
Yeah, only like during the summer I'll look like
Kellsie
really
does
dark.
Tan really quick. Look at Josh. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. Oh my God.
You're gonna have to show her now.
All right, I'll get a picture to show you guys so you guys.
No, I meant you're gonna have to show your mom the video, not show her on the live.
Should I show her on her channel?
Might as well. I don't know if we have consent for this.
My mom don't care. You know she don't care.
Like right? Everybody's saying hi, Mom.
My friend is halfway.
Yeah, that happens a lot, you know. But anyway, since Kellsie and I met and we started dating, unfortunately, it's like right when we really started dating seriously, we had to move away from each other.
Yeah, that really blows.
And we're doing the best we can with it.
Yeah, I mean,
especially for you guys in the chat, I don't know if you guys have ever done a long distance relationship, but it's doable.
Horrible, but it's doable.
Horrible, but it's doable. So if you have someone or you find that significant other who, you know, doesn't particularly live where you live, it's doable. Make sure they're a real person, because we've been watching Catfish all week. And that show's crazy. But, if you guys are in a relationship and you live far away, it's absolutely doable.
Oh, God.
There you go. Show them.
All right, guys. You want to see? Wait, I can't see the stream to make sure that it's in. Look at this. Let's see if they can see it. There she is.
Oh, my Lord.
Oh, my God. Everyone's going to freak out. Watch. They're like, oh, my God. Are living with your parents.
Are you guys independent living?
I used to live with a roommate, and then when I moved to... oh, my God. When I moved to Rhode Island, I had to move back with my mom.
I actually rent right now.
God bless her.
I'm living on my own now. I actually rent. But, yeah, we're for the most part, we're pretty independent. She likes those brown. What did you do in my comment section?
Oh my God, it's so funny though.
But yeah, we both are pretty independent. I live on my own now. Kellsie has for a long time.
Yeah, I have since I was like 17, and then I just moved back home, which kind of is weird, but it's okay.
But yeah, we're getting there. We're hoping to get back to
California,
the West Coast, someday, and get a place.
It will happen, and we'll get a puppy. Kelsey's mom has got to go. Oh my gosh. Who sings that song? Christian.
Yeah.
Alex.
A lot of our friends.
All of our friends sing that stupid song.
So you guys are just now in the know about Kelsey's mom.
Now everybody in the chat's gonna start singing it.
Oh my Lord. Anyway, this podcast has turned into Kelsey's mom's podcast. No. But no, if you guys do have to do the long distance thing, just
when you go with your what does that say?
Are people shocked that you're his daughter when you're with your dad?
No, because we actually look very similar.
Yeah.
We look pretty similar. My dad and I look more like my dad than my mom.
Her dad's very short.
Very small guy.
But no.
No, we look alike, so no.
What about you, Wade? With my ancestral background, to be dead honest with you, I don't even know. I know I'm a little bit. I know I have to be some kind of Eastern European. I think I would have to be like some kind of. I think my mom has told me, but I don't remember. It's either like some like Dutch or Finnish or
you don't even
Swiss.
know.
I think it's more Swiss.
Are you cheese? Swiss
not
cheese.
Swiss cheese. I think Swiss and German are kind of where I fall into that category. But pretty much Eastern European, I think.
Yeah, my dad's dark skinned, but like we have the same features. Like I don't know how to
Like, yeah,
explain that.
like
Like his
facial
eyes,
features
I have
and
his eyes, I have his nose.
facial structure, things
Literally, yeah. Because my
like that.
dad's got like
I don't know if I'm full German, so don't hold me to that. But I know I'm
German.
Eastern European in some form, at least in some percentage. And then I know, obviously, I'm from Tennessee, so
Tennessee.
growing up a little Southern, I'm sure you guys can hear the accent. But after, when I turned 20, I moved out to California and, met this cutie. And since then, I've been kind of in a dead space in my life trying to figure out what I want to do. And I think I finally found it, and you guys are helping me out do that, so thank you very much.
Great, guys. Like the video. Subscribe.
Are we out? Is that
no, I'm just messing around.
No, but that's my ancestry. I don't really know other than that.
Let's look on Ancestry.com.
Yeah, I don't know if that works.
Fake.
Let us know if Ancestry.com actually works.
I think it said I'm related to... No, I'm kidding. You guys got it.
Yeah, and I think I've actually figured out what I want to do at this point, because breaking down MMA fights and talking about the sport and, being a practitioner of it, it's so fun. And talking about it, just so much fun. I just think that I found what I want to do, and I've always wanted to be a journalist. I've always wanted to convey stories about interesting things, and I think I found the most interesting thing for me is the pure, unadulterated life, and guys put their lives on the line, and some of the backstories these guys have. This sport conveys the very core foundation of what it means to push through and, even if you fail, to overcome that and keep overcoming it and really have that second wind and that mental fortitude to get past a lot of that. Did we go to school? I did, and I dropped out.
I go to school. I go to URI, so I'm doing that now. I'll be done, though, soon.
It's not going to drop out like me. It was a time in my life where I just didn't know exactly, again, what I wanted to do. But, I'm thinking about getting back into it, get my degree, and getting my journalism legs off the ground.
This is a good question. Since 2017 has gone peacefully, any events, movies that got some place in your hearts?
Movie. What movie did we just see? I keep forgetting what
that
it was.
Placed something in your Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
I don't remember.
It's actually a really good movie, but no, I haven't really seen a lot of movies. I mean, like, I don't know.
Events. What events did we go to that we really liked last year? We did more. So we like hiking a lot.
Yeah,
and we did a
very
lot
outdoorsy.
Of really cool, we did a lot of really cool hikes in California.
We went on a 22-mile hike one time, and we got lost, and I started panicking. Do you remember that?
The new Star Wars. Josh don't like the new Star Wars.
Oh, that was a good
Come on, man.
Even
between Rey and Kylo, the dynamic between them, I don't really like how it ended.
I had nachos, so I was happy. I didn't really care.
I don't really like how it ended, but I just thought it was a cool dynamic to see, the Force bringing them two together through Snoke, even though Snoke just kind of got killed off like he was nothing.
Okay, don't get him started on the Star Wars talk.
Sorry. But no.
What did we do?
We like hikes. We like we went to a couple nice restaurants that we really liked.
Oh yeah, one time Wade and I went to this really expensive restaurant. Went to this really expensive. No. And how much was that dish? Literally?
We had like a $50 dish.
It was like
and
this big.
It was like a what was it? Was it pizza?
No, it was
I don't remember what it was. Eggplant parm, and it was like enough to feed a child.
Oh God, do you guys watch Dragon Ball?
I don't watch Super because I didn't ever start with it because when they did the Super, they didn't do the they didn't dub it for English right away, and when I didn't see it get dubbed, I never started it over. I want to start it, but I'm a big Dragon Ball fan. I started back in Dragon Ball, watched Dragon Ball Z, watched I didn't watch as much GT, but Dragon Ball Z, and then Dragon Ball Z Kai I think came on. But I'm a big fan of all those. Luke was a selfless hero, not a coward like Ryan Johnson portrayed. Maybe true. I haven't read a lot of the Star Wars books or anything. I just watched a lot of the movies. But it did kind of come off as Luke was a little bit of a coward in the last movie. I got used to the sub. I need to go back and watch Super because the sub, always threw me off because the voices are really high. I don't know. And I know the dubs, when they did the English dub, I know it didn't come out correctly all the time, but I liked it. I thought it was cool as a kid watching Dragon Ball growing up.
I didn't watch. I mean, I watched it, but like I don't
characters though. You don't know who? Give me one character from Dragon Ball. You know this.
I
don't
do.
Disappoint
Hold on,
me.
I'm actually like blanking right now. Is it Goku?
Yeah,
There
she
we
got
go.
one character, y'all. That's all she's good for. One character.
Wow.
For Dragon Ball. Okay, get another one. Who's his son? You know his son?
No,
Who's
I can't.
his rival? Spiky hair, blue suit.
Oh,
Talks like this.
honestly, I don't know.
Vegeta.
Wait.
None.
Hey, any secrets you may hide from each other?
None. I think the number one. No, not from each
He
other.
doesn't know. No.
The number one thing you can't do in a relationship is have secrets.
No, we don't hide anything.
You can't do that because if you do, you're not putting full trust in your partner, and when that becomes an issue and you don't trust each other, your foundation's ruined, and you can't build off of that. So no.
Nope.
It's the number one no in a relationship is
Even though
don't
it
keep
sucks.
secrets.
Like maybe if you don't want to like talk about it too.
Yeah, and sometimes you do. Another thing, we are not by any means the authority on relationships.
No.
By any means. But if you are going to be in one, you can't be afraid to talk about stuff, regardless of how nasty and you might fight, and it might be kind of awkward and uncomfortable at first. But the more you do it, and the more you open up and show that person that you care, that you listen, and that you're there for them, those hard conversations become normal.
Yeah.
And then it's
I
easier to
agree.
move past those.
I agree.
Julio, what's up? What up? We're just in here talking about Kellsie and I meeting. You missed the MMA portion, which was, I thought, very
Ouch.
juicy
He thinks
and
it's better
intuitive
than this part. That's great.
and very descriptive. And we had a lot of great conversation. And now we're just talking about how tall I am.
Stuff.
No, I'm just kidding. I hate arguing. My wife loves to. Kellsie
Sometimes
Kellsie loves other people's drama.
Yes.
But when it comes to us, she just has to have the last word.
Yes, that's a big thing. Like, even with little things when you're like, I'm like, stop. Let me say it first or last. And you're like, okay. And then I go, and you go, I'm like, just stop. Any video games like, what
are we playing right now?
Fortnite. It's so
Flames.
fun.
We love our Fortnite.
It's so fun.
I keep talking out of my butt and keep saying that we're going to get this live stream started on Twitch. And I didn't even put the freaking browser source on there for my Twitch channel. But I do have a Twitch channel. It's at W.A.D.E Plemiantes, which is a nickname I got in college. But we play Fortnite, and I'm trying to get the stream going. I
suck.
I haven't had the time to really work on it with the old broken wing. Kelsey's not bad.
The best I've gotten was 3 kills in one game. That's
Kelsey's got
good.
3 kills in a game.
That is good. Remember I got a sniper?
Oh, Kellsie got a no scope.
Yeah.
For you guys that play.
No scope, and I killed someone with the scope, didn't I?
Yeah, but the no scope's way more like.
Oh, okay. I got no
OG.
scope, guys.
For you guys that play video games, and especially if you play Fortnite, you know how hard it is to no scope people. Kelsey
I did it.
lucked into the best no scope I've ever seen on that game. But
I jump boom dead.
yeah, I was like, what the heck? And then she just acted like nothing happened.
I was like, what?
But yeah, I play Fortnite. We just got PUBG from her mom, that you guys obviously like in the comments.
Yeah, my mom bought him that game. My mom
Yeah.
low-key loves W.A.D.E.
She does.
She thinks he's so hot.
Okay, whoa. We play PUBG. I play 2K, NBA 2K. Me and my buddies are doing a franchise, which I'm gonna play later tonight. We're doing a franchise, and I'm in the title game because your boy's a baller. And then what else we play? We play Madden.
I don't play anything. I don't
You
have
play?
a
She plays a lot of video games on her phone. She plays like
you know what game I play on PlayStation? PlayStation, the first PlayStation 2. No, PlayStation 2. I'm sorry. You ever heard of that game Bully?
You played it in front of me.
That game's so fun.
She loved that game Bully because she is a bully.
All you do is bully people around all day. It's so
We don't
addictive.
condone bullying on my channel, all right?
It's so fun.
I don't know what she's talking about, but
just the game is fun.
yeah, we're a bunch of nerds. We like weird things like hiking and video games. And
I like hiking and being outdoors and making videos. And
Kelsey's actually, you guys, I've been telling Kellsie to get her YouTube channel started. Once
it's
she does get that started,
sad.
you guys show her some support. She loves video editing and loves to edit different scenes and make really cool kind of.
Pretty good at it.
Yeah, like she has a drone. She makes really cool like cuts and stuff like that. You guys got to check out her stuff.
COD?
I started with Call of Duty with Modern Warfare, and I kind of got away from it just because they started overloading me with just, Black Ops, and there was, Modern Warfare 2, and then there was, I don't even know, there was just so many more, and I just couldn't keep up. And then, maybe with the new one, I'll start, but
Have you heard of Until Dawn?
Until
Yeah, that's the one I was telling you about. He doesn't play scary games because he's afraid of scary games.
that's not true. I'm
It
not
is
afraid.
so true. I have told him, let's play. There is one I told you, but I don't know if it's for Xbox. Have you ever heard of Fear?
I haven't.
It's like the girl from The Grudge, sort of, and it's like a war game. I played it before, and it's a war game, and she like follows you around, and she like whispers and like footprints on the wall.
Resident Evil 7, best horror game by far. I might have to play them.
I haven't played it.
Once we
No,
get
you got to
more,
play that Until Dawn for real.
Once we get more settled and we can finally start the game stream, and Kellsie and I could play, I think that's something a lot of people
That
would really like.
suck. Oh my god.
No, it wouldn't even be for that. Just the jumpy, like scary, goofy stuff.
It's cool.
It would be fun to get her to play those games. I'm just a little bit of a wimp when it comes to anything
There was this
scary.
game that came out on PlayStation that I think it was like a demo, and then they took it away. But it's like a haunted house one. I know Oscar played it for a little while, and you go through the haunted house, and it like scares the crap out of you. I don't even know what it's called.
Appreciate that, Flames. We're gonna get it started, man. I'm gonna be giving you some high level Fortnite play. Me and my buddies, we have won a total of 15 games. We're champs. No, but we just have a good time.
No, yeah. It's
Hopefully you
fun.
guys want to watch that. I think that'd be cool.
That'd be good. I think you should start it for real.
Yeah,
I think you should.
I've just got to get on it.
Can you buy me an Xbox One?
X or an old
No,
original one?
the original is fine. I just
Why, what
need
are
to
you gonna
play Fortnite when I go home.
Oh yeah, Kelsey's addicted to Fortnite. 19. Jacob, my boy, he's one of the guys I play with. He's one of my good buddies.
Jacob.
Making sure you got it right. 19 wins.
19, yeah, right. I saw you guys play.
Hey, we should make a horror game
I
live
know,
chat reaction.
That'd be so good. Final Fantasy 7, Fallout 4.
I've played a little bit of Metal Gear Solid. That was a really good game.
Not your bot.
Jesus. No, I think yeah, we can call ourselves gamers.
I'm not. I just play because you.
Next time I'm gonna do a live chat or something, or maybe I'll create a video where I show you guys my setup. My setup's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty decent setup, so I think you guys would like that. What else about us? Do you guys have any questions for her on any kind of relationship advice? If you guys are looking for a girl in your life, or if you guys, girls have a guy, or you want to, talk to a guy that you guys don't know how to do that or anything. Kelsey's, been around the block, all right? So
what?
She might know.
What is that supposed to mean?
Hey,
I've had one other boyfriend besides you. Chill out.
Hey, listen.
One other boyfriend.
She's been around the block, all right? Just letting you know.
That's so rude.
I'm just playing.
That's so rude.
I'm just playing. No, but I don't know. If you had any advice for them, what would you say? How do you put up with me?
I live in another state. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I don't put up with you. That's the wrong way to put it. I think I don't put up with you.
I know, but what about it is yeah, taking notes. What about it is like, how do you deal with one, me being in a different state, two, me being hard-headed and stubborn.
You've gotten so much better at that though, for
Yeah.
real. Like, because when I first met you, you were very like, but now you're very calm and like,
Pretty calm.
yeah. I don't know. I don't put up with you. You're very easygoing. You're not really.
Yeah.
You're very easy. Seriously.
I'm laid back. I'm chilling. Real quick, I know we talked about UFC 220, but
All right, here we go.
Uzziah had a question. My thoughts on the 220 matchup, and I know we're going back and forth on this. One day at a time is right, though, Julio.
Yeah.
It's easy to say a relationship's just going to be built off of 1 or 2 days, and a weekend later you're in love. But one day at a time is the way to go. Rome wasn't built in a day, folks.
At a time.
My Lord, we got a freaking sanger.
All right, go ahead and answer.
But yeah, Uzziah, for 220, I think Francis has a very, and not to, I was kind of talking a little bit earlier about how Stipe was getting slept on and how people weren't really giving Stipe a shot, and I still believe that, but please don't get it confused. Francis Ngannou can end any fight with one punch. Anybody on the planet walks up on that fool and they can get slept in one punch. It can happen. It's a very real possibility, and it's almost, a possibility that's prevalent in any fight he gets into. But people are not giving the champ the respect he deserves. The guy has run through this entire heavyweight division. Take it easy, Josh. Appreciate you being here, my man. We'll see you next time, brother. Thank you so much for being here.
See ya.
But the guy gets slept on, and no one gives him the credit of, at least right now, because the UFC has got the rocket ship strapped on the back of Francis Ngannou and trying to send him to the moon and promote him like crazy, because it's an entertainment company at this point, and they're trying to promote this guy as the next big, scary heavyweight. Meanwhile, Stipe's just beating the whole division left and right, knocking the best in the world out, knocking them dead. And so it's going to be a tough fight. If Stipe continues to stand and trade with Francis, the percentage of him getting knocked out goes through the roof. But if he can use that cardio, if he can push pace on Francis, if he can get him in some kind of clinch where I don't know if he's strong enough to hold him on the cage, I don't know if he's strong enough to put him on the ground, but if he can do so, if he can take that fight to the ground, if you get into late third, early fourth, championship rounds, we haven't seen Francis there yet. And I know the whole argument is, well, if we haven't seen him, he's not good there. And that's sometimes a bad argument because you don't know if a guy's conditioned, you don't know if he's in shape, but the tendency is if we haven't seen it, it might not be he can't be that great at it, right? That's a tendency of every fan. Well, he hasn't done that yet, so we don't know. And when we don't know things, we tend to be a little skeptical. And I'm a little skeptical of how Francis is going to handle that pressure. But if Stipe can find ways to get around Francis's striking, if he can use a little bit more of his wrestling than he's shown against some opponents, if he can use that ground and pound that he's really, really good at and force Francis to kind of fight backing up versus fighting, coming forward and setting his own pace, Stipe's got a really good shot. And I'm going to roll with Stipe in that fight. Spoiler alert.
Flames is out of here.
Flames.
Bye, Flames. See ya.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. But they're saying this is the best heavyweight title of all time. I think you're right. I think you go back in the history of the UFC heavyweight division, you don't really see. I mean, you see the marquee matchups that brought us Brock Lesnar versus Alistair Overeem at the time, who was Ubereem. You know, you see Randy Couture, you see all these guys, and at the time they were great fighters, but the sport is evolving, and people are starting to see that those guys in the past were great for their time period, but in this period, in this era, we have the most talented fighters in the world, even better than they were before, right? The evolution of the fighters is becoming more prevalent as the sport grows, and you're seeing not only the best fighters, but you're seeing better athletes become fighters, like Francis, who was homeless. The guy was just a monster walking around looking for what his calling was and finds out, oh, it's knocking fools dead for a living, right? And then, you see this other guy in Stipe who's hard-nosed guy, great wrestler, great striker, but he's knocking guys dead with class, not really going out and promoting himself, which is not his job to really. Goes back and works 12 hours a day as a fireman. But don't get it mistaken. These two are the best at this weight class in the world. I think it's the best fight of all time at heavyweight. I can't wait to see it. I'm going with Stipe. Shocker alert. But we'll see. We will see. It's going to be a great fight, man. If Francis lands that freaking uppercut shovel hook that he throws, Stipe could not have a head. Who knows? Who you got? This is an early pick. You're not going to be here. Who do you have?
I don't know.
One pick.
I don't even know who you're talking about.
Big guy we saw hit the big left hook on Alistair's head, went back.
Oh, yeah.
That guy versus, well, you haven't seen Stipe fight yet. We'll wait to get Kelsey's pick.
I'll text
Kelsey
it
will
to
be
you.
in the chat, I'm sure that night.
Yeah, I'll
too.
be in the chat.
So
catch me in the chat.
Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
I'm hungry.
Kelsey is always hungry, as you guys will see in the thumbnail today. She likes fries.
I do. That's all I think about, honestly. I think about In-N-Out a lot, too.
Yeah, we got to get back there.
So
But
sad.
yeah, Stipe seems like a super cool dude. If you guys listen to him on Joe Rogan's podcast, not to promote the biggest podcast in the world like it needs anymore, but I'm a big fan of his podcast, and Stipe was on there. Super down-to-earth guy. Just wants to fight, make his money, go play Call of Duty, and fight fires. That's what he does. But I think we're going to get out of here.
Because we got to eat.
We got to eat.
We got to eat.
And we have to get prepared for a little bit of a date night tonight.
Date night.
So we're going to go do that. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Sire. I appreciate you guys for being in here with us. Guys, tune in January 14th.
Wow.
What's today?
Excuse me. That's
Today
my phone.
is the 2nd, yeah?
3rd.
3rd. Today's the 3rd. 11 days away from UFC Fight Night St. Louis. Tune in. Make sure you guys share the video if you're liking what we're doing here.
Like.
Our social medias are above our heads. Mine's actually my Twitter handle. Kelsey's is her Instagram handle. So you guys follow us there. Like I said, like that video for us, guys. Thank you so much. Share it for your friends. Subscribe if you're new. This is the W.A.D.E concept where we are debating everything. Take it easy, Julio.
Bye.
We'll talk to every one of you guys next week. See you later.